right, y'all know what time it is. It's your boy Aristotle Investments. We back with another episode of Stock Sundays. And as you can see, I got the red background because we're going to be talking about what happened on Friday afternoon when Trump decided to tank the market midday with some tweets. So that is why people always watch Trump tweets and things like that. But we're going to get right into it. We're going to break down the data, the historical data. We're going to be talking about the manipulation with the market. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Okay. Now, before I do, I need you guys to leave me a like, comment, and make sure you turn on your post notifications because I will be posting often on YouTube. Okay. And you don't want to miss it. I will be trying to post at least every day or at least 5 times a week. So I'm going to be posting very, very often. So let's get right into it, folks. Without further ado, okay? Now, before we get into what was said, let's talk about this. We do have CPI, and that's going to be on Wednesday. And they're talking about U.S. bond market holiday closure. So people were saying that not only did they drop the market, but I think because of the U.S. bond market holiday closure, don't quote me on this, but a lot of cash may not be settled. So if you're a person without a lot of money and all these things, then you may have to wait till Tuesday to buy the dip. So if this is a dip buy, it could be, not good for those people who cash or funds aren't settled. So they're doing a lot of things that I've been hearing through the grapevine. I like to keep my ears to the streets. A lot of people have been saying that centralized platforms like Coinbase and Robinhood have been blocking people's transactions from buying the dip or selling crypto. So some people would say that's a good thing because you shouldn't be trying to sell, panic sell. And you know how people are, they like to panic sell. And I've been telling people that it is very dangerous that a lot of people are buying highs and spending all their money at highs. Okay, so that is very dangerous. But we're going to keep going. We're going to keep talking about what's going on. So first, let's talk about this, folks. This cryptic message that Trump sent on Twitter talking about some very strange things happen in China. They are becoming very hostile, sending letters to countries throughout the world that they want to impose export controls on each and every element of production having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else that they could think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. So again, what do we have, folks? Trade war. So again, and I already talked to you guys about this on my YouTube channel on this one right here, Sell Everything. And you guys remember that. It's confirmed that I said 4 days ago that this candlestick pattern could drop the market. So what I told you guys, we're going to look at 2 historical data points. And I already said this 4 days ago. We had a bearish engulfing here. Whenever we have something that bearish engulfs a bunch of candles at highs, it usually does not end well. And honestly, we have too many examples. Like we had this example right here. And I even broke it down on another one where we had an example of a bearish engulfing that was kind of bad. We have right here another bearish engulfing. So let me bring it up right here. You see this bearish engulfing, and it did exactly what. And I'm going to explain something to you guys so you guys will know how to play these, right? So here we have it, folks. And this is the crazy part that a lot of people don't know. This is a bearish engulfing pattern right here. And to enter this, you enter when it breaks the low of this candle, right? Puts. Now, notice that it broke the low, retested, and then kept going down. And notice that it retested here, went up here, but notice that this candle is the stop. Breaking above here is the stop. A close above here is a stop. But notice that it still did not close above the stop candle either. So this is the stop technically now, right? But it wicked back below. And then it ended up coming here so it could confuse the investors. And this was 2024. So that's another example of a bearish engulfing pattern. We have one right here, bearish engulfing. Right here, right? And again, What it likes to do is, it breaks down after a bearish engulfing pattern. Okay? So we're seeing that, and a bearish engulfing is this right here. When today we need an uptrend, and today is bigger than the body, it completely engulfs. That means the low of the body is lower and the high of the body is higher. So the body is the green part, right? The relationship between the open and close of the body. So we see that. We're seeing a pattern of SPY having bearish engulfings, even right here, another one. Notice that when it goes high and it has a bearish engulfing pattern, even if it likes to rise up a little bit, it'll eventually tank, correct? As you guys can see, another bearish engulfing pattern. Okay, let's keep finding them. You're going to keep seeing a pattern of this. Even right here, a bearish engulfing, and then it end up tanking. Okay. And we can see plenty of examples of this right here as well. Bearish engulfing. A super bearish engulfing right here. See that? So SPY historically loves to drop with a bearish engulfing pattern on the daily chart. We're on the 1-day chart. Okay? So that's number one. That's the technical thing that we're looking at. We're looking at the fact that when it presents a bearish engulf, especially when it engulfs lots of days, so that's when it's very high probability. So notice that it engulfed, this recent candle engulfed 1, 2, 3 days. When it engulfs multiple days, right, where you see that the low was lower, see that? If we put this cursor right here, the low was lower and the high was higher than the bodies of these. So these are within this body, which makes it foreshadow a downtrend. Now, it was very hard to tell whether this would break unless it broke the 8 EMA, then it broke the 21, and that was all she wrote from that point. Momentum made it come down. Now we're right back here near this level right here. Okay, so we go to the 4-hour. We're here at the 200 MA on the 4-hour. And we don't really have anything other than some type of level here holding this up. Nothing really besides this high. We don't really have much to hold this up other than this 200 MA on the 4-hour. And that's why it's sometimes important to have your 200 MA up. So you have the 200 MA on the 4-hour, and we are on the daily chart. We bring up the 50 MA, which is going to be this purple line that I bring up right here. That's just about it, as we can see, which it looked like it ended up hitting after hours. So this 50 MA is about our last line of defense on the MAs. Let's look how the market reacts to the 50 MA the last time it went there. So as we can see, this purple line, it bounced a little bit here. It held here. So last time it rolled to 50 was 2024, which was last year. So the market can have tendencies to react to the 50, as you guys can see. All right. But again, folks, we need corrections. So let's talk about trade war. This was the most recent trade war, right? Most recent one. And remember, folks, a bull market, a bear market. A bear market definition is defined as decline of 20% or more in market price. All right, you're going to keep seeing that. Typically 20% or more. Right? A bear market is fundamentally driven market decline of 20%. You're going to see this no matter where. You're going to keep seeing the same thing. A bear market describes a steep drop of 20%. Do we keep needing definitions, right? Okay? And they said a stock loss of 35% on average. All right? Now, remember what I said, and I even said this on my video. The stock market likes to take what? The staircase up and the elevator down. So I even said that with the post that I made on this video. Okay? I talked about it here, and I even had the same little background and everything. Right? I talked about this bearish engulfing pattern when it first hit, and I talked about all that stuff, but we're going to keep going over it. Right here, folks, what do we have? 21% decline right here. This is technically, we're in a bear market, correct? So we're in a bear market when it declines 20% from highs. This was the trade war. Notice it bounced steeply after that. The last time, so that's when we had our trade war, and this is a long time ago, but when it finally lows, there it goes right here. This is the last time we had a trade war with China. Well, not the last time, the first time Trump did it. This was the last time. So 20%, notice that they be quick 20% and everything, right? So boom, it went from here, it was like a quick 20%. Let's kind of get it all the way accurate, and then we bring it all the way down here, and boom, yep, you see that? 20%, roughly 20%, right? 19.18, 20%, then it went up, right? From here. So notice that and this was the trade war of 2018 when he was talking about tariffs and stuff with China. And this was the trade war of 2025. And then we're having more trade war talks. So notice that this was inflation when Biden was in. Notice that there's a different type of market drop when it's Republican and when it's Democrat. When Trump drops the market, we always can bet on it, on a recovery. This is COVID right here, 2020. You get what I'm saying? So he had no control over that. But I just believe that that's just the world we live in. You get what I'm saying, folks? So why am I saying all this, and what does that have to do with anything, and what should you be buying and everything, folks? All right, we're going to talk about that too. But first I had to get you guys into what's going on. So what does Aristotle personally believe? All right. Now, one thing I want to tell you guys is the worst thing you could do is trade on theory. I'm not here to trade on theory. I'm here to react to the market, and I'm going to tell you what my plan is and everything. Number one is let's see how Monday and Tuesday goes first. Really, this whole week is very crucial. Are we going to rise to the top and this was an overreaction? Are we going to fall down and let it be a correction? Because remember, folks, a correction is 10% from the highs, right? A correction is 10% from the highs. So we look here. This thing only dropped 3%, negative 3%. In order for it to be a correction, it has to come about right here. That's why I put the pink line right here. Right? About right here. So about right here to the last high. So a correction from here would be a retest of the last all-time highs. Right? That's what a correction would be. A retest of the last big all-time high we had. Now, if we want to look that up, correction, stock definition. I probably butchered that, but, I'm just trying to type fast. See that? A stock correction occurs when the stock market index prices drop 10% or more from most recent high, right? So 10%. So I know my shit, right? A correction is 10%. A recession, aka bear market, is 20%. So in order for this thing to have a bear market from here, we need about right here. Okay? So about right here. And we can put our little, stuff here. This could be a bear market. This could be a correction. All right. So we got our correction. We got our bear market here. Right? Now, that's why I'm telling people it's hard to overreact from here because it's only a 3% drop. Right? Very, very hard to overreact. So let's talk about some of the plays that I'm watching. All I can say is we have to see if it'll bounce from the 50 MA, which will be right here. Then we got to see if it's going to correct from there. Because remember, it takes the elevator down, the staircase up. So you see that it falls quick, but rises slow. And even you can see historically, except this one, 2022, but that was during Biden and stuff. Remember, it falls quickly, rises slow. Falls quickly, rises slow. All right, so we take the long way up. Now, the plays I have is Home Depot would be the most bullish play I have because it has a great setup here. Nice little trend here. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of the trend line while being oversold on the RSI. Could be a bullish play. We shall see. Home Depot would be a bullish setup. High risk, but, it is what it is. And then, honestly, I'm looking at NVIDIA for a day trade. I really only have 2 plays. The rest I got to see what's going on. NVIDIA, whatever you call this, and you guys can comment below what you call it. If it breaks below lows of yesterday, I would personally take the trade. Let's look at Tesla. Basically, I'm watching some of the high beta stocks now. Tesla as well breaks below the low, I would say below 411. And I'm looking for day trades for puts. So basically, I'm looking for puts in Apple again, day trade for puts if it breaks lows of yesterday. So we shall see. We don't know what's going to happen, but we can only guess or infer, all right? Amazon, even though it has a 200 MA right here. But yes, I would say NVIDIA, Tesla, Home Depot. NVIDIA and Tesla will be my day trade for puts if it continues lower, and then Home Depot would be a bullish play that I'm watching. Other than that, folks, I don't really have much. Hope you guys learned a lot. And remember, it usually likes to bounce when trade wars happen. If a recession comes again, that's why I always tell people you need to be balanced at the top. You need to be scaling out of leaps. You need to be buying hedges against your portfolio at the top, things like that. I didn't hedge enough that I should have, but it is what it is. Make sure you guys tap in. It's your boy Aristotle. Make sure you guys tap into my group chat if you guys want our option plays. We hit big on some of them, a lot of them, honestly. Like, we hit big on them. So make sure you guys tap in. We got yeah, that's good. Testimonials. My guy hit 100K on that. And we hit on some SPY plays, some puts and stuff like that. My girl Fancy went crazy. SPY puts went 100%, so that was good. So yeah, that was good. And then CLSK, things like that went. But yeah, folks, even my boy Mike was talking about bearish things. And you guys are going to see that you can go to our testimonials. You can go anywhere and you guys can see that we're the best in the world. This guy blew past his goal. We help people set goals. All right. God bless you guys. See you guys next time.